Yes, so some notable campaigns that we worked on and some chair positions I'm really proud that we completed include most recently the Bar Standards Board. We appointed their new chair, which we're really pleased about. Also the UK Cybersecurity Council, we sourced their founding chair, which was a great project to work on, as well as various other smaller organisations such as A New Direction. They were looking for someone who had some skills in arts and understanding of culture, but also had worked with young people through that lens. And so it's very interesting overlap of skills and experience that we were able to find for them. So finding the right chair for an organisation is quite a precise science. So we're looking for someone who not only fits from a skills perspective, but also fits with the values of the organisation, is able to lead them in a way that suits them. So that takes, I suppose, some patience and some real deep diving into a candidate's profile, which we take extra care and attention to do. Yes, so one of our main focuses is to improve diversity in the senior space. Often people feel like this might compromise the skills or the quality of the list that we provide our partners, and that's never the case. So we are looking to widen access and remove barriers for candidates. The candidates are out there. It just might be that you've not found them yet. And we're able to reach out to not only our own networks, but beyond that, to find someone who suits your organisation and can bring a perspective that perhaps you've not had on the board before. So Inclusive Boards works across a number of sectors actually. So we frequently work in the charity sector as there's a quite high turnover of trustees there with limited terms. But yes, we've also worked in the public and private sector very frequently. Some notable clients include the Bar Standards Board, the UK Cybersecurity Council, and we're currently working with some accounting firms in the private sector actually looking at some audit boards, which has been very interesting. But yes, any partner that really wants to work with us, we're very open to learning about their sector, grounding ourselves in that so that we have the information to supply their candidates with. So for example, we've gone as niche as landscape design previously, which was very interesting. We've also done several executive positions, including the England directors for the National Lottery Community Fund, and some chief executive roles as well. So yes, we're quite flexible in terms of the roles and the sectors that we work with. I think one of the projects I'm most proud of is working with the UK Cybersecurity Council. So it was a new organisation that was being founded and they needed to set up a board. And so we helped find their founding board members. We were able to support the appointment of 3 women to that board, and also the chair was their first female black chair, which was really exciting and really great. So the application process at Inclusive Boards is hopefully pretty straightforward. So we always take a standard application of a CV and cover letter. And prior to that, there'll always be someone available to answer any questions about the role or the application. We also provide support with that. We're happy to proofread a cover letter, for example, provide advice if you're looking to draw up a board-focused CV that you haven't perhaps had previously. Yes, and so we'll look to give you more detail about the position, so hopefully you can tailor your cover letter as successfully as possible for the role. Then following that, if we have any further questions, we'd set up what we call an informal interview. So that'd be about half an hour's conversation with one of our consultants, asking some more additional questions that might touch on soft skills, things that are hard to get across in a CV, such as leadership and communication, just so we can provide the selection panel with as much detail about your profile as possible. Then following that, if you're selected for an interview with the client, we would provide you feedback from the shortlisting meeting if we can. We also would provide some advice on interview practice if it's something that you're new to. And provide you preparatory documents such as their latest financial accounts, for example, anything that might be useful for shaping your answers. Yes, and so we're always available to answer any additional questions if we can, provide any support. And then following that interview, if you're successful, we'll support with your referencing as well, and hand you over to, I suppose, your new partner. Yes, and always with all our positions, we do our best to provide feedback, so that's whether you're successful or not. There'll always be a consultant available who have further information about the search. So we provide a kind of 4-week window where you're able to get in touch prior to the application, to ask any questions that you might have. If we don't have the answers ourselves, we can always have a further conversation with our partner so that you're as clear as possible prior to application. We can also source further information that's publicly available if there's not anything further that the client or partner has passed on to us. We're also very happy to support with the applications further. So for example, we can proofread your cover letter, provide some advice if there's areas we feel like you might need to go into further detail with. If we know there's some nuance to the profile that the client is looking for, we can provide you with that information, and perhaps you can just round that out if we feel you need more examples or less examples sometimes. If perhaps the cover letter's gone past the 2-page mark, we might suggest making it a bit more concise. Yes, and also we can provide support with a CV as well. So we can advise on how to perhaps reorder a CV so it highlights your skills that are useful at board level. So we have templates of board CVs, for example, and yes, happy to provide any advice on that as well. So with all our searches, we do our best to provide feedback for candidates, as we know it's useful for perhaps another application, or even just to understand how the partner experienced your application, your interview, for example. So we look to also attend the shortlisting meeting with the panel so that we can capture some notes and have their response to your application, anything that we feel might be useful for you to hear. If we don't have any feedback from the client themselves, we will also look at your application and our notes from your interview to see if there's anything that we can pass on personally, as we do have quite a lot of practice in this area, and hopefully that will be helpful for your next application or for understanding why perhaps you didn't get the role. And sometimes it's a situation of competition, but sometimes there's advice that selection panels are really keen to pass on that they feel might be useful to you. So we very much do our best with that.